um, I'm not sure about you, but it's a bit confusing to me that who said this halal, who said this haram, who agreed on, who disagreed on. So I was lucky to have this book. Unfortunately, it's in Arabic. It's al-fiqh on four mazahib al-arba'a. I tried to teach it when we were in Elderbrook. I think Athar was there, and it was too complicated, so the brothers couldn't follow me, so I dropped it. But I put it this time about fasting in different way. I think on that day, and when I was teaching it, I was going line by line. What I did today, I took all what the all mazahib agree on, I put it separate. And then I put the three mazahib what they agree on, and the two mazahib, and then the one mazhab. And then if you keep quiet till I end, you will find that answers actually came in the end. Because you will say why he didn't agree, what's his opinion. Just I just say when it is a three, I say who is the fourth one who disagreed. When there are two, I mention who are the two who disagreed on this. The other two disagreed, obviously. They might have an opinion I list, but then we will go to the end and say because some of them two agree and one have an opinion, one have different opinion. So the two agree doesn't mean that the other two have one opinion. It might be each one have one opinion. So we'll go through it, inshallah. It's not pick and choose. It's not pick and choose, but you will see that after you listen, hopefully, you will find that you're okay, you're quite clear. And when there is difficulty, you know there's a way out. It's like one will surprise you that Shafi'i say if you put your finger in your ear, you lose your fast. But he's the only one he said that, and he hasn't got a lot of data to back it up. So even the Shafi'i who follow Mazhab Shafi'i, they don't take it. And it seems that his knowledge about anatomy with the ear is not correct, because the ear is not an entry to the stomach. You don't eat from here, you know. Only in cartoon, but it's not in real life. So if you go to what we're going to what's going to happen in Ramadan is going to be um, the 12th of Ramadan is 12th of April will be Monday will be last day of it's the day before Ramadan. Tuesday is the first day of Ramadan, 13th of April, and then um, 13th of 12th of May will be the last day. Um, the thing is that I am broadcasting on YouTube and Facebook. There's people watching on YouTube. Uh, um, if you listen to me, probably might explain it. Eid al-Fitr is 13th of May. Um, so fasting is who must fast? Should be Muslim, adult, healthy, sane, and able, and resident. Who shouldn't fast? One who is going on long travel, or a lady in period, or giving birth to a child, or very old, or seriously unable, like his job or his the condition is unable, it's too hot or too sweaty and things and can't bear it, or very sick, or floridly insane, um, or on a longer travel. Um, now, obviously, you need to be sincere and start Ramadan because from day 1 to 10, the Prophet ﷺ said, أوله رحمة, a mercy, وأوسطه مغفرة, forgiveness, and آخره عتق من النار, freeing from hellfire. So if you could achieve this, inshallah, you'll be in paradise definitely. So as I mentioned earlier, we'll be talking about what agreed by all, what agreed by three, what agreed by two, and what agreed by one. Um, so um, that's terminology here because you might already know it. Fidya is to feed one person, one needy person. Um, Miskeen is a needy person. Minor kafara, kafara sora, to fast a replacement day. Major kafara is to free a slave, fast for 60 days, or feed 60 people. Mud is 675 grams of grain. This is what you need to give the poor person. Sa', it's 2,751 gram, and some of them say you have to give half a sa', and some of them say mud. Madhi is when a young man aroused sexually. It's colorless secretion. And janaba, when you lose your purity due to sexual action. And ghusl, when you have full body purification. So just these words will come. Um, so what agreed by all that fasting Ramadan is fard, obligatory on all Muslims. And it's the fourth pillars of Islam. And fasting is must on Muslims who are sane, mature, resident, and physically able. And then it's forbidden on menstruating ladies and postnatal um, childbirth, but must fast missed days. So they must break the fast. It's not by choice, um, and they all agree on that. Pregnant and breastfeeding moms could break the fast if they are worried about their life or health or the life or health of the baby. So they all agree that women can break the fast. Travelers beyond the Farsakh, which is 75 kilometers, which is around 40 miles, can break the fast. But nowadays, with the travel, you need to also add whether there's actually exhaustion or lack of concentration and things. If you travel from here to London, you might be tired. You might have problem with concentration, so you probably advise not to fast, although it is 1.5 hour or 2 hours. Um, but actually, from here to Leicester, you can break the fast. This is the rules. Um, and they said first off, they didn't say what method of travel. So it's more easiness. Because sometimes if you are fasting and you can't concentrate, driving a fast car would be more dangerous than being on a donkey and going there and coming back. So the donkey knows the way and knows the way back. It would be more safe on a donkey than in a car. Terminally ill must break. Yeah, depends on if you are going to an airport. First, you are going to the airport. Second, you have a lot of checks and things, and you have waiting. You are checking. You have. So you end having a lot of tiredness, a lot of difficulties, and so you could be advised not to. Um, and terminally ill must break their fast if fasting make them worse. So it is must. It's not like try to fast, not try to fast, because usually they're either not eating or drinking or not breathing or not able to walk or whatever, or they need a lot of medications. And also they all agree that it is not obligatory on children and floridly insane. Floridly insane when somebody who's acutely psychotic, somebody who's terribly hallucinating, deluded, paranoid, or basically very demented or toxically confused. So I wouldn't know who'll eat and drink. So there's no point expecting somebody who's floridly mentally ill to fast. Children should be encouraged to fast from the age of 7 and stressed on by the age of 10. It's usually responsibility for children to fast is the father and mother, because they are not obliged legally towards Allah until they pass their puberty age. So Allah handed the the father and the mother the responsibility of making sure they fast. But obviously they have to look into their ability, their stand, their time, their body size, their tolerance, and how much they train. I had to speak to head teachers in schools in Solihull on a couple of occasions, because there's some mums who force their children to fast and they faint in the school. And it's the responsibility of the school to protect the children. They could take the child from you and put him or her in a children care, child care, and forget about you. So you could lose your children. So it's not a joke, especially in this country. And fast starts by seeing Ramadan Hilal or Shaban Hilal or completing Shaban 30 days. Um, must make intention to fast. It's must. All mazahib. If you don't make intention to fast, it's not counted. Um, can start fast even if he or she needs ghusl from janaba. So even if he needs ghusl, he he fast. He might make ghusl before Fajr or after Fajr, but it's not related. Discouraged backbiting and lying. And the hadith, if you don't stop false witnessing or act on it, Allah doesn't need you to stop eating and drinking. Allah will not benefit from you not eating and drinking. If a person guessed wrong the start or end of fast, must fast qada. So if you thought it's still dark, Fajr hasn't started, and you discovered that it has, then you need to make fast a day instead if you ate or drank. Um, we had a video last year, and our family sitting down and the food there and waiting the adhan. And the radio came and Allah, and they started eating. يرضى عليك يا ابني. It was a song, but the song started by Allah. Somebody called it Yes Safi, and it was a song. It wasn't the adhan. So they all had to fast a day, a replacement, because they broke the fast before the adhan. Involuntary vomit will not break the fast, and had sexual intercourse must continue fasting and do major kafara. So even if he's, he's done lost his fast, but he has to carry on fasting, not eat and drink. Oh, I'm already broke the fast now. You have to carry on, but you still have to do the kafara. And they all agreed that there's no kafara if we had sexual intercourse fasting outside Ramadan. He's fasting outside Ramadan, but there's no kafara if he broke the fast, slept with the wife. If intended to break the fast deliberately without valid excuse, he must remain fasting and fast qada outside Ramadan. So somebody is saying, I'm not going to fast anymore, I don't believe in fasting, I'm not. But he didn't eat, but he cancelled his intention. He lost the fast, but he has to carry on fasting, and he has to fast day instead outside Ramadan. Already broke that black day. The book is really very nice because all the fiqh about all marriage, divorce, everything is in here. The only problem with the book is that he didn't put punctuation marks in the right place, and he split the word. Now, the controller who controlled the publication should have been more clever. But it's a very good book. I actually listened to Wahb Zuhaili. Wahb Zuhaili was a mufti in Syria, mufti of, I think it's Halab and Damascus, and he studied in Al-Azhar. His book on four mazahib is 19 volumes, quite big volume. I read from his volume on Sawm, and he gave lectures on fasting, 5 lectures, but he used this book. Sheikh Said Ramadan Bhuti advised him, he said, this is a good book, and he took it, and you don't have to go through a lot of details, just go straight to the point, So I listened to him also explaining the book, which was quite nice too, but unfortunately in Arabic. Now, fast is invalid if a person was unconscious all day. So unconscious from Fajr to after Maghrib, so he is not fasting. If he wake up even if, a few seconds before the Maghrib Azan, his fasting is counted. But if he is asleep all day, the fasting is counted. He is asleep, but he's not unconscious. Um, Forbidden to fast the doubtful day 30 of Shaban, just in case. There's no just in case. Has to be definitely Ramadan or definitely Shaban. No need to fast on behalf of one who dies before doing his qada. So if your grandfather, grandmother died, he was sick during Ramadan, he didn't fast, he has to fast 10 days, then he died, then the 10 days you don't need to fast on his behalf. And you don't pray on behalf of anybody, and you don't fast on behalf of anybody. And one can fast or end the fast if he sees Ramadan Hilal or Shawwal Hilal alone. So if you see it, if you couldn't convince the whole nation to fast, at least you saw the Hilal and you fast. And if one discovers he or she ate after dawn, he need to fast qada. So if you, and the same if you eat before Maghrib and then you discover now, no, actually Maghrib hasn't cold. And fast is valid if forced to eat or drink. Now, agreed by 3 that the major kafara by fasting 2 months non-stop. So if he break the fast because he slept with his wife, he has to fast 60 days continuously non-stop, except Maliki. Maliki, you will see later, he said you can do it intermittently, like 1 week on a time or 2 weeks. So people who do this mistake, they might switch to Maliki mazhab in that point. Niyyah must be done daily, but not Maliki. For Shafi'i, Hanafi, Hanbali, you have every day before dawn to make niyyah. So you have from Maghrib to dawn to make niyyah, fasting the day. If you don't, fasting nil and void. But if you switch to Maliki, it's accepted. So Maliki can start the niyyah from the start of Ramadan. Say, I want to fast the whole month of Ramadan. You're correct on Maliki. But according to three mazhab, you have to say it every single day. If somebody had an enema through his back passage or front passage, he breaks the fast, but not the Maliki. If one starts fasting, then decides to travel, he cannot break the fast. That's it. You're fasting, and then 10 o'clock, oh, I have to go to Nottingham. I'll break the fast. No, you can't break the fast. Except Hanbali. Hanbali allows you. So you can break the fast if you are Hanbali. This slide might put it on our site if you want to come back to it later and look at it. If apostate return to Islam, somebody left Islam in a coffee break and then he came back to Islam after Asr, he must do qada to the missed days. He missed the day, must do qada, but not Hanafi. Fast of a boy is counted, but not according to Hanafi. Cannot fast a doubtful day, day 30 of Shaban, but not Hanbali. It's amazing because Hanbali, he must have looked into definitely 1 month is 29 this year, next year is 30. Because 29 on this side of the air, 30 on the other side. And the next year will be the other way around. 30 on this side, 29 on the other side. Because the month is not 30, it's 29 and a half days, plus minus. It's not exactly half day. But if you take like 10 years, it's half day. It will be definitely 1 full month on one side of the earth, 129 days on one side of the earth. It's definitely. So somebody must have that knowledge, obviously. Now, if the crescent is seen during the day, it belongs to last night, but not Hanbali. Because Hanbali say if it's seen in the morning, it's last night. If it's seen in the afternoon, it's tomorrow, the start. So he obviously had more astronomical knowledge. He must decide the niyyah, what he is fasting for. Ramadan, Nudhr, fasting, kafara, fasting. Because fasting could be kafara for if somebody kills somebody by mistake. It could be kafara if somebody make oath and he break the oath, they fast 3 days. So there's other fard fasting obligatory than Ramadan. We need to say, I'm fasting Ramadan, iman and ihtisaban, or I'm fasting a replacement like alternative days, or I'm fasting Sunnah, I'm fasting Ashura, I'm fasting. So you must say, but not Hanafi. You must decide the niyyah between sunset and dawn. So, but not Hanafi. Hanafi, you could say the niyyah during the day, but the rest has to be between sunset and dawn. You must decide the niyyah between sunset and dawn every day, but not Maliki, like we said before. Maliki, you can say it from the beginning of the month. Fasting, nafil niyyah, can be done up to midday. You can up to midday because the Prophet ﷺ came and he asked his wife, is there any food? She said no. He said, okay, I'm fasting. But he came duha, before zuhur. So they said you have to do it before zuhur. and Hanbali said no. Um, if the food trapped between your teeth and you chewed it, it doesn't break your fast unless you swallow it, but not Hanafi. What Hanafi says will come later, so if you wait, but it will be one single opinion. Agreed by three again, another page. Hijama doesn't break the fast, but not the Hanbali. Sexual intercourse, kafara, kafara is free slave first, fasting second, fasting 60 days, and feed 60 people. We're no slaves now, so we go straight into fasting 60 continuous days or feed 60 people, but not Maliki, and we will see later why, what's his opinion. Fast is okay if it stops sexual intercourse at the start of dawn, but not Maliki. Fast is okay if kissing followed by mazi excretion, but not Hanbali. We'll lose the fast. Fast is okay if broken by traveler by eating, drinking, or sexual intercourse, but not Hanbali. You can break the fast in any of these. You finish Ramadan or you're traveling, you have the right to break the fast, but you are not allowed by Hanbali to use this sexual intercourse to break the fast. Um, and if you do, you have to do kafara according to Hanbali. Fast is okay if he stops intercourse immediately at dawn, but not Maliki. And fast is okay if one forgets to fast and eat and drink, but not Maliki, has to do qada. So fast is okay if he forgets fast and eats or drinks. He forgot that he's fasting and he eats and drinks, but not Maliki. He has to do qada. So this is some on your side and Maliki and some is not on your side. So no kafara on women if forced to have sexual intercourse with the husband, but not Hanbali. He says she has. Not permitted to delay qada until after next Ramadan, but not Hanafi. So the three mazahib, they have to fast the days missed in between this Ramadan and next Ramadan. And encouraged fasting 6 days of Shawwal during Shawwal, but not Maliki. Maliki have the opinion either it's not actually a sunnah to do, or you can do it any day, any time of the year. Maliki from the beginning of Shawwal to next Ramadan. So they take, it's how you understand the word. من صام رمضان وأتبعه ست من شوال. The Arabic. في فاست رمضان وأتبعه بست من شوال فكانما صام الدهر كله فأتبعه بست من شوال either من شوال 6 days out of Shawwal. So you take 6 days of Shawwal, you fast these 6 days. Imam Maliki, he took it, min Shawwal means from the starting of Shawwal. From the start of Shawwal till next Ramadan. So the word, the verb, not the verb, the preposition, the harf min. So min from this, or min from this to there. So from min Solihull ila London, 117 miles. Min Solihull, yes, Habib came. Min Solihull, from within Solihull. So min carry many meanings, and Maliki took it as from now till next Ramadan. All the three mazahib took it from Shawwal himself, from Shahr Shawwal. So he fast 6 days. That's why, you know how they're all correct, but Allah doesn't want to make it easier for Muslims, so He chose what is actually. So you're desperate, you you say, yeah, I'm okay according to Maliki, so I'm not actually doing something which is against the Sunnah. Um, and can brush your teeth or do siwak, um, but not Shafi'i after midday. You break your fast. So according to the three mazahib, you can brush your teeth twice or three times in the day while fasting. Um, and Shafi'i said no. What agreed by two, Ahmad and Shafi'i said if pregnant and breastfeeding moms worry about their babies, they break their fast and do qada and kafara. So they have, according Shafi'i and Hanbali, Ahmad means Hanbali, they do qada, fast days instead, and feed a person. I have to do kafara, feed one person, which is double costly, obviously, if people have no money. Maliki and Shafi'i, if one reaches puberty age or become Muslim, or a lady finished her period, or non-fasting traveler is encouraged to remain fasting till the end of the day, which is a bit expecting too much because he wasn't allowed to fast until Asr, and then because if in menstruation period there have to be two salah passed and no bleed, and that could happen. Um, Probably a child reaching puberty age or somebody become a Muslim, probably that's not going to happen as such, but possible. But they say they need to refrain from eating, carry on as they are obliged to fast, but they still have to fast there instead. So if you go to um, Hanafi and Hanbali, they don't expect them to fast, to carry on fasting. Hanafi and Shafi'i, recovering insane doesn't have to do qada because the hadith is أخذ ما أوجب أسقط ما إذا أخذ ما أوهب, not hadith, the rules. إذا أخذ ما أوهب أسقط ما أوجب. If Allah took what He gave you, He drops what He obliged you to do. So He took his legs, so he couldn't go to the mosque. He took his eyes, he couldn't go to war. Um, so when he was mentally ill, he wasn't in his mind. If he would have fasted. Malik and Shafi'i said no fast or fidya on depleted elderlies or terminally ill. It's important to know this because many people are now reaching the age of 85, 90, very, very sick, and they are very short of money as well, and they hardly have enough, pension and things, or no pension at all. To say to them to pay fidya might be too much, and then 30 days, and how much the fidya? Yeah, it is um, 675 grams of grain, but still in good money for many countries. So you say no. Maliki and Shafi'i said no, you don't have to pay the fidya. Um, Hanbali and Maliki, the fidya is half sa'. So Hanbali and Maliki, while Hanafi and Shafi'i, it's mud. So here it's more economical to you to follow Madhab Hanbali and Maliki because you pay uh, less economical to you. You pay twice as much. But I mean, 1 1/4, 1 1/3 kilogram of grain. How much is it going to cost? In Britain, grain is more expensive than third world countries because when I started doing the shopping, I started discovering. Train yourself if you're working, do shopping from now because when you retire and you start doing shopping, you have no idea what the price is, where it's cheaper, and you could do like me. I bought all my shopping, left it on the desk, and walked away. When I came here for the shopping, came back. The lady handed me the bag, and she was looking at me. Will he come back or not? Usually my wife pushed the trolley, but my wife wasn't with me, so um, agreed by two, Shafi'i Imam. No, no, no. No, the fidya is to feed the miskin. If you feed somebody to break his fast, you get rewarded for his fast. But fidya, you're not making him fast as an extra. You actually uh, uh, saying to Allah Azza wa Jal, you know I couldn't fast, and this is why you asked me to feed somebody else. I'm still doing the action. Like tayammum in wudu. When you can't make wudu, you do tayammum. It's the same. Nothing to do with the poor person. But this is a way to redistribute the wealth in the globe. Allah Azza wa Jal made many ways.
This is very misunderstood point. My mother is 85, and she always, the last couple of years, asked me to send some money to someone poor who can do the fast for her. That's generally what happens, you know.
No, because I said earlier, the Prophet ﷺ said that nobody can fast on pray salah on behalf of anybody else, and nobody can do the fast on behalf of anybody else. Now, it's a joke appeared in Lebanon last year, the year before. We can make you not fast a whole month if you contract us, and we will take you every day on a journey 40 miles and back, so you're traveling, so you don't fast. So I arrange for you to go and come back. Obviously, you're not cheating Allah Azza wa Jal. Now, Malki and Shafi'i said intentional vomit break the fast. Hanafi and Shafi'i said kuhl allowed. The other two said no. But kuhl, there is a tunnel between the eye and the back of the nose, but tiny little tunnel, and the amount of fluid go through it is negligible. And in Islam, anything negligible have no rules. So this is why people who say that eye drops could break the fast is not really, and the ear drops, no tunnel even. You need to break your, you need to punch your drum to reach the tunnel, which go to the back of the mouth or the back of the nose. There's a tunnel from the middle ear to the inside, but that you need to break your drum to get it to get to that tunnel. It's not doesn't happen. This is why when you are flying in the plane, the negative pressure push the drum inside or outside, and then you need to make the falsafah maneuver to push it back. Um, so kuhl doesn't actually go there. But men don't put kuhl these days. Women still. Kuhl is the eye mascara or something. What was it? What's kuhl? When they put on the eye, what they call it?
Like eyeliner.
Eyeliner.
Oh, surma.
Surma.
Yeah, I was corrected, but
Yeah.
they used to do it with the ethmid, and it's a bit like a cleaning agent. Um, Shafi and Hanbali intercourse kafara on husband only, while Hanbali say that, Shafi and Hanbali say intercourse kafara on husband only. Hanafi and Maliki intercourse kafara on both. Um, expect the wife to be able to stop him or something. Shafi and Maliki, if intercourse on 2 days, he double the kafara. He's done it twice in the month. While Hanafi and Maliki, if he broke the fast while healthy and resident, must do kafara and qada. So you break the fast deliberately. If you break the fast because you are sick, you only do qada. If you are very ill, you give kafara. But if he is healthy and break the fast, he does both. Hanbali and Shafi'i, if healthy and resident and broke the fast, he must do qada and no kafara. See, Hanafi and Maliki, they have kafara on top. Now,
What do you mean by resident? I'm not
he's
traveling.
not traveling.
I'm not traveling.
Yeah, resident not traveling. What agreed by two, Hanafi and Shafi'i, fast is okay if he had sexual sex while forgetting his fasting. Didn't break the fast. Maliki and Hanbali, if he had sex while forgetting, nullify his fast. So he need to fast a day instead. But no kafara. Forgotten. Hanafi and Malki, if not intentionally made the water or the water dropped from the back of the mouth to the food pipe while washing his mouth, fast is void, although not intentionally, because he expects you to be really careful that you don't make the water reach the back of your mouth. Somebody asked me last year, can you make madmada with a sandwich? You know madmada, wash your mouth when you make wudu. Can you make madmada? No, I said no. When the youth in Chelsea Wood, non-Muslim youth club, they fasted with us. And we took food for them and we broke the fast together. And they said, I asked one of them, the, the, the youth worker, he said, I said, how did you feel during the day? He said, I said, did you like, I wish I have a drink or I have a small piece of food. He said, chewing gum would have been good. He was even accepting chewing gum because he couldn't take it. Chewing gum, you might hear something called ban, al-ban. Al-bane in Arabic, it's some like chewing gum but has no taste at all and it has no sugar, nothing in it, no material in it, and then you chew it and take it out. They used to allow it, but now chewing gum has a lot of stuff, so it will break the fast. Now Shafi and Hanbali can't terminate nafil fast and nafil break. There's no penalty if you are fasting like 6 days of Shawwal. Hanafi and Malki must complete nafil fast and nafil break. So Shafi and Hanbali say you can break it. Hanafi and Malki say once you start you have to end it, like Alistair, the game, the mastermind. Once he will tell you the question and then the bell ring. He said, "No, you carry on. I started. I must finish." So he's following mazhab. Yeah, I must finish. So he's following mazhab Hanafi and Malki. Hanafi and Malki can't fast nafil on Friday alone, while the other two mazhab they ban it. You can't single out Friday to fast. Shafi and Hanbali discouraged fasting nafil on Friday. Agreed by one only, and that's when you might find people, especially we are in Britain, there's multi-mazhab, people from Hanafi, Shafi, Maliki, and Hanbali. So Shafi said can confirm the start and end of Ramadan locally or nearby country. You can disagree with other countries on when Ramadan starts. You're following Shafi. While the other three, no, you can't. You just have all of them have to agree on the first day of Ramadan. The problem is that with nowadays, if you look into you have from New Zealand here at this end of the earth or Australia to San Francisco. In America, and that we followed in Solihull from 2006. They said if the moon is born before midday, Greenwich Mean Time, next day is Ramadan. And next day will be correct for both people in Australia because it's still 11 o'clock at night, and San Francisco still 11 o'clock in the morning. So it's still 1 o'clock in the morning. So you can say next day is Ramadan and you are correct because the moon was born before 12 midday. If the moon is born after 12 midday, it's already next day here. If you remember the New Year, they come to us and say, oh, they celebrated the New Year and still 11 o'clock here or 12 o'clock. So for them, it will be next day. So you can't unite the world. to fast and break the fast on the same day, unless you use this method. If the moon is born before midday, next day is Ramadan, because the moon is going to be seen anywhere here, definitely. If the moon is seen after 12, it's unlikely to be seen even in America sometimes. Although it's born at 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock, but it will be, to see it with the naked eye, you need 18 hours. To see it with the telescope, you need 12 hours. So it's unseeable. And we've been doing this, following this since 2006. We're always right. We always turn up to be right, because, and if uh, the Middle East, they used to not know this or follow it, the government. So in 1 year, there were eclipse at 12 35, total eclipse. It was major eclipse here in Britain. Um, so the Saudis said they saw the moon, the crescent. So Ahmed bin Bayya is known, why he was the head of the Muslim League, and he was very high position. And I phoned him. He was on Jazeera. I phoned him and I said, all scientists say that the moon is impossible to see because it's born at 35 past and still too young to see with the naked eye. Why they announce the next day is Ramadan? He said, what can I do with the witnesses? The witnesses came and said they saw the crescent. What can I do with them? I said, probably the government should actually don't expect people to come. They should say to them, the moon is impossible now, so don't come and tell me that you saw the crescent. So if the government stop accepting or putting the committee to receive the witnesses, there won't be any witnesses, so it wouldn't be announced. And I think from that time they stopped doing it. Now they don't announce next day Ramadan unless the moon born before 12 midday, and it has been correct over the time. Obviously, you will see later that here Ibn so the Shafi'i, if you want to follow, like sometimes the Hub follow South Africa or follow Morocco, are they Shafi'i or they Hanafi? I know they're Hanafi, but then why they're following Shafi'i? Because only Shafi'i say you have to follow, and they took the Hadith of Ibn Abbas, so they don't know that. Um, in Shafi'i, again, Ibn Sarij, who was one of the major followers of Shafi'i and the Mufti, Mujtahid in Shafi'i, he allowed using the calculation if by experts, because they started seeing that there's science behind this. You keep watching the moon every year, and you see there's a pattern there. And then they say, oh, it's following a formula. If you know the formula, you can't expect when the moon is going to be. And this is why we had somebody send us, have you seen it? For the whole year till the next 50 years, when Ramadan is going to be, when Shawwal is going to be, when Eid al-Fitr, al-Adha is going to be. So it's a more fixed science than eye seeing. Eye seeing subject to false witnessing, and it is quite high. While calculation is never wrong. They tell you about eclipse by the second, by the minute and the second, and it does happen. And they say, what's the percentage of the eclipse? Full eclipse, partial eclipse, this eclipse, where is going to be seen most? And they're right. So it's following the science. Like the science of electricity and gas, and is a lot of advance in science that it's not tanjim. They used to think it's munajjimin. Tanjim is fortune teller. And there's a hadith, كذب المنجمون وصدقوا ولو صدقوا, that munajjimin, those fortune teller, they are liar, even it turned out that they were true, but they're still liar. But this is not following tanjim. They are actually following observation. So you observe every year, every month, how the moon is moving, and every year, last 10 years, last 100 years, like 300 years, and they have a huge amount of data, and they manage to get all the calculation. Hanbali said a Muslim woman witness seeing the moon is accepted, and all country will fast. Only Hanbali accept one woman, which is more right these days, especially when somebody can, oh, you're Muslim, we don't allow women to witness. You have 4 women and one man and 2 women. Say no. It depends on what's witnessing about. What's the thing she's witnessing? If she's witnessing women issues, then the woman, the only one can't witness, can't have a man to tell you, the birth was and this and that. So there's a lot of issues. Here, Hanbali said yes. If one woman come and said she has seen the moon, and that could be accepted, and the whole country will fast. Shafi'i said nose inhale tobacco break the fast. Now inhaling, they have problem with the inhaling because the anatomy depends how they see the anatomy. So they say everything into the internally, taking internally break your fast. But the Quran says وَكُلُوا وَاشْرَبُوا. It didn't say inhale because inhaling, this material goes to inside the body. Now, Autos, they put some tobacco in their nose. But smoking, they all say haram and break the fast. But if you talk to them, what about inhaling the smoke of a car in front of you? What about inhaling the dust? Material there, what about inhaling steam, inhaling perfume? They all have materials. Inhaling Ventolin. The problem, some say no, it's haram, break the fast. Means that if somebody have asthma, he will have to feed people all his life because he's have asthma all year round. He's not going to be cured. He's always in need for inhaler. So they have messed it in this side, and I discussed with some of them. Oh, it's inside the body. It's never mind inside the body. But then injection, they say it's halal. It's entering the body. They say it's not the normal entry, but the air pipe, the trachea, is not normal entry. Food doesn't go there. If food goes there, you cough straight away and you are in trouble. So the Imam Sheikh Ali Jum'ah was talking to him, and he was saying that in every discipline he has a special committee before he gives a rule. If on agriculture, you have a lot of agricultural engineers, you gather them and they sit and discuss the issue. If it's an issue concerning medicine, he brings the doctor. If it's an issue concerning social matter, he brings social care and things, and he asks them, in your specialty, what we should do. So when he gave the fatwa, it's based on knowledge. When he gave fatwa on banks and on interest, it's amazing. I haven't seen a sheikh knows the international economy and macroeconomics like him. He knows exactly what the fiat money is and what the real money and what the banks do and the fractional reserve banking, whatever. And he's really studied it because he got committees who discuss with him. So, Hanafi, if a pregnant and breastfeeding woman worry about their babies, they break the fast and do qada and no kafara. While the other mazhab said they have to do kafara, because it's quite a good money when fasting, and then you will have to pay. So you might have to follow Hanafi in that. Hanbali, if one start fasting, then decide to travel, he can break his fast, and that's easy for us because you might, suddenly you really needed to go to Nottingham or London. It wasn't a plan from last day, but you're fasting and you really don't want to crash your car, whatever. So you say, oh, you can follow Hanbali today. But it's good to know that and that's why. Hanafi said if one reaches puberty age or become Muslim or finish her period or unfasting traveler, he must remain fasting till the end of the day. That's the Hanafi. The other one, they said they can break the fast. Hanafi said no more fast on debilitated elderly or terminally ill, but fidya only. While the other said that no fidya. So you might have to follow the others and no fidya. Shafi'i say fidya is a mud of grain, 675. While the other said it's half a sa', 12 as much, twice as much. Half a sa'. The sa' is 4 mud. A mud is 675, so the sa' is around 2700. Hanbali's second opinion, if 29 Sha'ban cloudy, fast next day as the first of Ramadan, because he's taking now that it's our side of the globe, 29 days. So he has more experience, it seems, from his ruling, he has more experience with astronomy. Hanafi, if not cloudy, seeing Hilal must be confirmed by a group of people. And that's what makes it difficult for Hanafi to accept. This is why Pakistan 2 3 days after the rest of us, because if it's no cloud, there should be ahead 180 should be witnessing the moon, the crescent. That would be the moon 2 days old or 3 days old. Um, but this is his rule. And Hanafi is, if cloudy, Hilal seeing is accepted from one person, a woman or a slave. So it's quite contrary. One opinion need 180 people, and one side one person will be. Maliki Hilal seeing must be confirmed by two just men. He wouldn't accept two women or slaves. Or, um, Hanbali, if a crescent is seen during the fast before midday, it belongs to the last night. If after midday, it's either. So here, seeing the moon in the day, um, scientifically, seeing the moon during the day must be that today is the first of Ramadan, because the moon can be seen after sunset when it's born. If you see it the next morning, the moon is get born after sunset and then move with the sun. So you still cannot see the moon until the distance between the sun and the moon is 18 hours. So that will be the next day. So if you don't see it on the day it's born, when you see it the next day, it belongs to the day before. So here, who did that is the Hanbali. Lost that. Yeah, the Hanbali. If the scene during the day before midday belongs to the last night, um, belong to last night. It depends where you are. If you see the hilal in let's say in Saudi Arabia, then you're likely to see it in San Francisco. You will see it the next day. If you see it during the day, it will be the next day for Australia. Hanafi said vomit makes the fast um, break the fast if it filled the mouth. If it filled the mouth, um, that's involuntary vomit. And Hanbali say excessive vomit break the fast. And that's more medically accepted really, because it's more likely he lost a lot of fluid, and probably better he eats and drinks medically. When you come to fast, there's a lot of medical input. You must have medical knowledge or seek medical advice more than only a mullah or imam or something. Hanafi, two intercourse in the same day, one kafara. It's easier. Hanbali said two kafaras have to do 120 days. So Hanbali said two intercourse in the same day, two kafaras. Hanbali said the fast is void if a woman is forced to have sex, while the other said no, but he forced her. Maliki, I think they ask a lot of women about this. What about this? What about this? This is when they were asking about how long the menstruation period could be, and how long the continuous bleeding could be, and how much the pregnancy could be. They asked. They made research more or less. They made like uh, quite a survey, long survey. Maliki major kafara possible by fasting 2 months intermittently. Only Maliki allow this. The other three, it has to be 60 days in a row, continuous. That's why people ain't paying 60 people to give them food, because they can't do, if they couldn't fast 30 days. The Sahabi who came to the Prophet ﷺ, and he said that I broke my fast, I slept with my wife, and the Prophet ﷺ said you have to fast. Um, he said to him, you have to free a slave. He said, we didn't have any money. Then he said, you have to fast 60 days. He said, 30 days I couldn't cope. He said, oh, you have to feed 60 people. He said, we haven't got any food. He said, okay, sit down. And while he's sitting with the Prophet ﷺ, a man came and donated big bulk of dates. He said, take these and give it to 60 miskin, 60 people. And he said, Ya Messenger, oh Rasulullah, if you go all around Medina, you will not find poorer than us. He said, okay, take it and feed your family. So with it. Um, it's, I mean, probably more confusing than before, but at least if you want to go snapshot and snap answer what this Imam says, what about fasting on this day or that day, you can very quickly get your answer. Just there are how many slides? Um, there are 22 slides. Take the 4 in the beginning and the one at the end. It's 17 slides. So 17 slides. Um, Probably you get most all what you need to know of the ahkam of fasting and who said what. But the important is actually that if you know what agreed by all and what agreed by 3, you fine. Because you know the Jamhur agreed on this, majority agree on this, that's accepted. You might have to read it for a few times. Or you might have to have it as a booklet, or I'll see if I can put it on the site, inshallah, on sia.org.uk. The problem with the site, no matter how good you are, they they get affected by viruses, and we lost the site twice. So yeah, although we do backup, but the backup doesn't back everything up. And if you want a company to back up for you, it costs you quite a good money every month because they need to back it up regularly. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. اللهم اجعل اجتماعنا هذا اجتماعنا مرحوما وتفرقنا من بعده تفرقا معصوما والله make our meeting blessed and protect us after leaving here. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. The presentation is actually on YouTube and on Facebook. I will be there for you to go to. There's around now, I don't know, 500 some presentations on the YouTube under the Solihull Islamic Education Academy. So you can go to it at any time and read it. If you have any questions, you can always